You're now rocking with the best. Who's the boxing show that's knocking out the competition? The kick-ass podcast that make you want to listen. The place where boxing fans and fighters rejoice. Thumbs up for Richie, you're listening to the fighter's voice.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Fighter's Voice Kick-Ass Podcast. This is the part of the podcast where we just kick a lot of ass. We got a great show for you this evening. We actually customized this podcast for our guest today. I mean, now I'm just playing around because our guest, he has his own podcast. It's called Robert Garcia Unfiltered, and that's exactly what it is. Now, I've told this man numerous times, you know what? If you don't want the truth, don't ask him a question. Because he's not going to give you his opinion. He's not going to give you what he thinks. He's going to give you the truth. And sometimes the truth is the ugly truth. And sometimes the truth hurts. But nevertheless, you know, we don't got time for joking around or kidding around when it comes to the truth. We got a lot of truth to tell. So I got to get this show started. First of all, I want to thank our sponsors. I want to thank Red Wave Tattoo. I want to thank Miles Harris, attorney in Fresno, California. I also want to thank Robert Garcias Boxing Academy for always being that good guy when it comes to the sport and always giving us the time of day to come on the show. Robert's a regular. People have asked me, man, how do you get him on the show so many times? I just said, you know what? It's just, you know, hey, we click together. You know, I don't want to be that guy that calls him every single day because it can easily happen. But, you know, Robert always makes time for us. And one of the questions I'm going to ask him as we dive into this show is, first of all, let me introduce him. Robert, you've always been introduced lately as a trainer, but I'm going to introduce you a little different. Ladies and gentlemen, the former IBF junior lightweight champion of the world, Mr. Robert Garcia. Welcome to the Fighter's Voice Kick-Ass Podcast, Robert.
Hey, thanks, Richard. Thanks for having me. Once again, you know, it's always great being in your show.
Robert, I got to ask you, man, I mean, leading up to this show, this interview, has your phone been blowing up with the requests? Hey, Robert, can I have you on the show? Can I do an interview? Or, hey, asking you the question that everybody's asking lately?
You know what? I have been getting a lot of calls, a lot of messages, but you know, I've been trying to stay away from all that. You know, on Monday, the first one in the gym, obviously Ellie was in my gym on Monday. And today, you're the one we're talking to, but I try to stay quiet, stay out of it, you know, for a few days because you know it hurts, you know, when somebody in my team, especially somebody like Jose, we lose a fight, it hurts, and you know we want to stay away from media and all that because I don't want to say something that I shouldn't say. You know, I don't want to look like we're sore losers. You know, we accept our loss and move on. You know, so that's why I chose to stay quiet for a few days.
You know what? And I respect that. And we're going to move on too. I mean, we'll bring that up as we go accordingly if it just falls into place. But that's one thing I told myself. I wasn't going to be that guy. And people have sent me questions, and it's like 10 different people almost send the same exact question. So we're going to move on from that. What I do want to talk to you about is, as soon as I saw you at the weigh-in, you said, Richard, we got to get this kid on the show. You were endorsing this kid. And you know, I did give him my information. I do want to get him on the show. I believe he's 7-0, tall, slender kid. I'll let you give a bio. I mean, because you're very high on him.
You know what? This kid is, you know, he just turned 18 a couple weeks ago, and we're looking to place him into the right promoter to make his pro debut. You know, he's had a lot of amateur fights. You know, we are you know, we invited him to come over to my gym, and him and his dad, they were impressed. I was impressed from the sparring he did. Actually, the first time he came in, he sparred Jose Ramirez. You know, Jose Ramirez and Jackson Mariñez, who is a solid professional. So and did good. You know, so right away he caught my attention, and you know, we've been in touch. You know, I invited him to the fight. You know, I want to introduce him to people. I want him to get to people to know him because I think this kid could be the future. He could be the future at junior welterweight and eventually welterweight one day.
Okay, yeah, he's gonna make his pro debut. Then that's what it is.
Yes, correct.
Okay, I'm sorry. I was thinking because Hector, Kilo the Kid, Madera, Hector Madera had a fight the same weekend, and he's now
Right.
7-0, and that's what I was thinking about. That
Yes.
was just popping in my head. No, this kid you introduced me to, good young kid, good looking kid, very marketable. He had people skills. When I say that, he was talking to a lot of media there, and he handled the microphone very well. The way he handled himself with confidence, and I'm looking forward to him contacting me and definitely getting him on the show and getting him
Very
some exposure.
For sure, very smart kid. He graduates in a couple of weeks from high school, and honor roll student. You know, he's a great kid. You know, great family, kid that people are gonna hear from in a few years. You know, like I think I could say I have an eye for talent, man. You know, another kid that coming off the amateurs, very few knew about him, and right now he's making noise. You know, people are talking to him at the lightweight division. Raymond Murataya, he fought on the card last Saturday, and he looked very very impressive. Top rank is really high on him, and I think he's going to be, within a year or so. I think he'll be mentioned about among the best lightweights in the division.
You know, you do have an eye for talent. So does your son, Pita.
Correct.
And I know he's out there. He's like a talent scout. You know, like those scouts they send out to a AA, AAA game. And well, how does one get your attention, Robert? Because I'm sure you get plenty of text messages all the time and plenty of video. Hey, look at my kid, or plenty of invites. Hey, come and look at this kid. First of all, when do you make the time, and when do you know, okay, I need to see him in person? When do you make that? Because do you ever just say, oh, I got to see this kid right now, just off based on information or based on video? How long does it take you to critique him?
We do get a lot of requests, from dads. My son's been training for so long, this and that, and sometimes they only send me videos through WhatsApp or something. Sometimes they come over. I've had kids come over from Florida, from all over the United States, locally. Kids from California, obviously, I get a lot of those. But this sport is a very difficult sport, and one thing I always tell them, and I tell them, look, if I'm gonna hurt you, I'm gonna hurt you with words of of an honest man. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, and if I hurt you guys, I'd rather hurt you with words than one day inside the ring where I have to give you a phone call, or give your wife a phone call telling you that your son is in the hospital because he got knocked out. So I'm honest with him. I tell them if I think they have a chance, and if not, I'll tell them, you know what, go to school, do something else, because boxing is not for you. I've had to, I've been forced to tell some parents that, and it sucks. It hurts me to say that, because everybody has a dream, and everybody sees, a Mikey, a Jose, a Virgil, and they think, oh, if I train hard, I could do the same thing. Well, there's millions of basketball players that are training hard to be like Kobe Bryant, but you're only going to have one Kobe Bryant. We might have one or two young kids that might be as good as he is, but right now nobody knows him. But there's millions and millions of kids playing basketball wanting to be the next Kobe, and it's very hard. Same thing in boxing. A lot of parents, they think, oh, my son could be a world champion just like Mikey, and they think if Mikey did it, why can't my son? But boxing is very difficult. Not only the business, but it's also a sport where there's a few, like 4 to 5 qualities that if you're missing one, it could hurt you for your career. You could have only three, but if you really focus on those three, you could become something. You could have two qualities. If you have a good chin and good power, the rest the trainer could do, and he could make you a world champion. But if you have good chin, good power, tremendous heart, but you don't have dedication, more likely you're not going to make it, because dedication is one of the most important things. Discipline. You could have you might not be able to take a punch very well, but if you have great heart and you have great dedication, you can still be a world champion. There's so many different combinations, but the main thing is the dedication. And a lot of parents, a lot of kids think, oh, I could be the same as Mikey. Well, it takes a lot of dedication. It takes a lot of hard work. It takes a lot of, sacrifice. I was a professional fighter through my senior year, and I wasn't able to do prom, grad night, none of those activities. Why? Because I was already a professional fighter, and I had to be in bed early. I couldn't go out. I was pretty much forced to stay away from all those high school activities because of boxing. So boxing, requires some dedication.
Very well said. A lot of questions I was going to ask you, and you just went and answered them yourself. So how difficult is it? Like you said, it's very difficult to say. Have you ever been proven wrong when you say, "Hey, you know what? Maybe boxing is not made for you"? Have you ever had that one out of a million that says, "Well, you know what? Since you said it, I'm going to work twice as hard," and then you evaluate them in 2 years later, or maybe you didn't see something in it, but maybe Pita did, or maybe your father saw something in it. How does
You
that
know what?
conversation go?
There's
Is it
there's
all three of you see the same thing or not?
Yeah, look, I'm gonna be very very honest with you, and we had that with a kid. You know, when we first moved to Riverside before Pita started doing the amateur classes,
Yeah.
my dad had a lady and her husband cleaning his house every week, and they asked my dad if they could bring their son to the gym, and that in exchange they would clean the gym. So my dad told me, I told my dad, yeah, bring them in. So once the kids started training, the first few weeks, the first couple of months, I'm not lying to you. I told my son and Pita, man, we should just pay them to clean the gym because the kid is not gonna go anywhere. I felt bad, but I think we're better off telling them the truth and telling them that their son was not good in boxing. But we didn't, and to right now, that kid has proved us wrong. That kid has like 6 or 7 amateur fights, still a beginner, still a novice, but that kid has improved so much. That kid spars professional fighters. That kid has every time there's other gyms that come in, oh, we have a young kid, 2-time national champion that we need some sparring, and we put him against that kid with only 6 amateur fights, and that kid already competes against top level amateurs. He already competes against professionals. So that's one case that I could say I'm glad I was wrong, because not only can the kid fight, but family, great family, great family, and I'm very happy that they're part of my gym.
Wow. I mean, you went from hey, Dad, we might as well just pay them because I don't see that killer instinct. I don't see
That
that heart. I don't see that corazon. And then was it months later, moments later, or they just stuck with it? And all of a sudden you said, hey, what's going on here?
the kid just stuck with it, never gave up, kept training. And then my son's the one that was telling me, remember Carlos, the kid has improved so much. Dad, you got to come and see him. And I went to see him have an amateur fight. I think it was his first amateur fight.
Yeah.
And when I seen his first amateur fight, I'm telling you, I was like, wow, is that the same kid we seen when he started? It was only a few months later. It was a big difference. That kid is getting so much better and better that I think we have a future champion there.
Man, that sounds good. I mean, I could just imagine when they're cleaning, they see the headgear of Mikey Garcia, or they see the gloves of Jose, or the mittens of Virgil, and the emotions get the best of them. They start to dream and they start to say, wow. And they took it all in, and then it produces hard work. Walking in that gym, like I've said it over and over again, I'll say it again till I'm green. Iron sharpens iron. When they see it,
That,
they grasp it, they become it, and then they walk it.
yep. See, I think that's what makes a difference. I think the kid, sees all these professional fighters, and that motivates him. And I've also talked to other trainers and fighters that train elsewhere. There's a lot of fighters, professional fighters, that have their own gym. A lot of them have their own gym in their garage, and they bring in their sparring partners. They hire sparring partners to come and be sparring partners. and 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 they they don't seem to be improving. Why? Because at their gym, they're the main guys. They're the stars. They're the ones that everybody else looks at like, oh, you're the main guy. But you're never gonna have anybody there that's gonna want to kick your ass so you could improve. I think that's the difference in my gym. I think in my gym, if it's Jose Ramirez, he knows there's somebody that might be better than him. If it's Mikey, he knows there's somebody that wants to kick his ass and be better than him. You know what I mean? So that's what makes my team so strong. And all my fighters are improving because, from Joshua Franco, who spars anybody in the gym, Bam Rodriguez, who spars anybody in the gym, they know if they don't.
That kid's underrated right there. That kid's a title shot away
kid,
from becoming a world champion.
Bam Rodriguez, people don't even know this, but on Canelo's last fight on the undercard, the co-main event was Pulga Soto, 108 WBO 108 champion. And Eddie Hearn called me 2 months before the fight if I wanted the fight against Soto with Jesse Rodriguez. I didn't even doubt it. I didn't even told him, let me talk to the kid, let me talk to the dad. I said right away, yes, I want the fight. Please give it to me. We actually we even worked out the numbers. We agreed to the fight, but then a couple weeks later, I get a message from them telling me that Soto did not take the fight. So Bam is now ranked number 2 in the world. So I think the way we're gonna get a title shot is gonna be a mandatory. And Mr. Honda is already working on it. We also have Top Rank behind us, and I think they're gonna push for the mandatory. Bam is fighting June 19th in Vegas on ESPN, and after that we're gonna try to push for the mandatory because I think Bam is ready to become world champion. But see, that's what I mean. If I have any other small guys, from 115s to 118s to 126 that spar Bam, they might be getting their ass kicked by Bam, but they're working their ass off to one day they could say that they're doing good or even better, or maybe they're kicking Bam's ass. So that's what makes my gym so good.
That seems to be the philosophy there. And I know Lee Samuels and Brad Goodman, when it comes to sparring days, they would all say, hey, Richard, any chance you going to Roberts this week? We're going to head down there and watch the sparring. That they actually love to go through those doors and watch that sparring that takes place at Robert Garcias Boxing Academy.
They were in my gym yesterday. They came in to see sparring. They just love to come and watch the sparring. It doesn't have to be that they come to watch top-ranked fighters. No, they come to watch Virgil Ortiz. They come to watch Hector Tanajara. They come to watch, their fighters, obviously, but they just want to, because they know they're going to have nothing but good sparring there. They enjoy watching Josito Lopez spar, because everybody knows Josito's going to give everybody a hard time in sparring. So they come just to enjoy a good day of sparring.
You know what? You brought up Virgil Ortiz. I met his dad finally in person at the MGM Grand. I believe it was Sunday. Very nice guy. Tall cat, too. Very nice guy. I mean, just so down to earth, man.
Great person. We when we met, it was early in before he even turned pro. We had already been talking about doing something with him. But, he decided he wanted to start off somewhere else. So he did, but eventually he came back, he came to us. And I think, the kid is so talented. And I think the kid is ready also, just like Bam. I think he's ready for a world title. The only thing is that we might not get that anytime soon because the champions are not available. I'm not saying the champions don't want to fight them, but they're not available. They're doing other things. They fight for other promoters. They fight for different management teams. So those fights are not going to be easy to be made. But we're also in no rush with Virgil. He's a young kid. We want to take our time. I think a year from now, we could probably be chasing a world title. But as of right now, even though he's already ranked number 1 in the world, we are not in no rush. I think we already have something lined up for sometime in August. Hopefully we can get him back in the ring before the end of the year. And next year, he will be ready to challenge any world champion.
There's some questions coming in from Dallas Boxing, at Dallas Boxing. What's next for Hector Valdez?
You know what? With Hector Valdez, I know that, he brought in his new management team. So I'm sure that's going to be a question that they will answer. I don't do his management at all, so his management team should have an answer for that. But he signed with Golden Boys, so I'm pretty sure, if it's not soon, he will be on Virgil's undercard when Virgil comes back sometime in August.
Here's an interesting question right now, Robert. It's from I want to say Santino Media. It says, please ask Robert if he's going to have a special celebration for his 50th world title win. He's at 47 right now. Countless wins, international wins, national titles, Team Robert Garcia, all the way.
Yeah, see, so tell Media, he knows everything about RGBA. He surprised us when he came to the gym when we met him. He knew exactly what my record was as a trainer since I first started with my friends Felipe Campa and Arturo Barraza. He has every fight.
That's a great question.
Every corner I've worked, I didn't even know I'm getting close to my 50th title fight in 3 fights. Man, that's huge. 50 title fights.
That's quite an accomplishment if you break it down like that. That cannot be overlooked.
Yeah, that's quite an accomplishment. I'm actually, planning doing something here in my house with my sorry, my dogs.
No, it's okay.
With my my new house that I just moved in. I want to do a little carne asada or something, but maybe it'll be to
Damn, that sounds good.
Give me 1 second. Let me open the door for my son. Right?
Yeah, go for it. Robert Garcia, I mean, making time as he multitasking, as you can hear his dog in the background, and the man's always on the move, always on the go. What's your dog's name? We heard him barking. Let him do a cameo. You want to bring him up to the camera real quick? Bring him up to the camera real quick.
Over there with my wife. Ted and
Oh,
Pepsi.
okay.
Yeah, they're small, like Matisse Poodle, I think. Small little dog, but I love them.
So I want to give him a shout out. So make sure you follow him. It's at SONTEO_MEDIA. That's media. So when he walked in the gym, he knew a lot about you.
He knew everything, man. He knew everything. We all the fights, all the titles. He knows. He has everything on paper. Where how many title fights I had in 2012, 2013, 2014. My record every year. I believe last year, there was a year where we had like 50 some fights and 2 or 3 losses only. He keeps track of everything we do with my fighters fighting, the titles, everything. And you know what, that's putting in some work. And I really respect that because, he's a fan and doing something like that. It gives me, knowing that there's people out there like that follow us so much and respect us so much, makes us work harder.
That's a great incentive. Robert, I'm going to ask you a deep question, man, and you're probably not even thinking about it right now. Can you see a Robert Garcias Boxing Academy in China? Can you see a Robert Garcias Boxing Academy in Mexico? Can you see a Robert Garcias Boxing Academy in Brazil? I mean, you're just a couple pieces of going worldwide.
It's possible. It's possible. I have fighters from Mexico. I have fighters from Brazil. I'm just missing one from China, I guess. But but why not? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not hard. Obviously I would have to visit once in a while, but I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind. It's something that I would consider doing, definitely.
I say that because there's a legendary MMA fighter, Royce Gracie. And there's lots of schools that are used, the Gracie school, but he don't just allow them to do it. He'll have visits, and then he'll have surprise visits because he wants to make sure they're taught correctly and properly, not just the name. You know what I mean? Right. That everything's there and what they're looking for, and that there's no bad habits, etc., and corrections where they need to be.
Of course, that's something that I would do also. With reputation, the type of fights that we bring to boxing, win some, lose some, but my fighters are always gonna give great fights, and that's something that I would definitely be assured of. That whoever's coaching, whichever fighters are the ones representing the gym would have to be real coaches that know the sport, and fighters that are willing to leave it all in the ring, just like the ones I have in my gym in Riverside.
Robert, there's maybe only a handful of gyms worldwide that I could ask this question to, and the viewers and followers and supporters would be surprised. If you would, Robert, name some of the people that have walked through those doors.
Oh wow. Well, I've had, man, from promoters, you name them, every promoter has been in my gym, from Oscar de la Hoya, Richard Schaefer, top rank people, everybody, Al Heyman people have been in my gym too. So
Al Heyman's been in your gym.
Dana White came to my gym.
We've had him marked down.
Floyd Mayweather come to my gym. Wasn't the best experience, but Floyd Mayweather came to my gym.
Well, talk to us about that. Why wasn't it? I mean,
because that's when Mikey became a free agent.
Okay.
After he had that 2.5 year layoff dispute with Top Rank, he came to the gym, talked to me and Mikey. Obviously wanting to do something with Mikey, but I have very talented fighters in my gym, as you know, and after a while and seeing that there was 3 of my young fighters that were not showing up to the gym anymore and not coming to the gym, and then learning that they were in Vegas with Mayweather, that was like I said, that was not a very good experience. 3 of my fighters left to Vegas to train under Mayweather. I wasn't mad at the kids because they see somebody like Floyd. They, and of course anybody's gonna be, man, I think this is the best thing that could happen to me. If Floyd Mayweather wants to sign me, I should be there with them. I don't blame them. They're young. They don't know the business very well. They left. But when I approached Mayweather about those 3 kids and told him, what happened, I wasn't even told that you signed 3 of my fighters. And he says, that's just the way business is, I think they're very talented and I'm taking them. That simple as that. That's all he had to say. So that, like I said, it wasn't a great experience, but he was in my gym.
I tell you, Robert, I didn't know that story, and that's an untold story. This is it's turning into Robert Garcia Unfiltered right now, and that's okay. I like that. Hey, that's truth to the matter. I do want to ask you this because I had a mark down right here because I never heard any news about it. How did the conversation go, and why was Dana White there?
Well, Dana White was there because he was thinking of promoting. Remember,
yes,
a couple years ago, he was thinking of coming into boxing and promoting boxing. And at that time, well, Mike, has been a free agent, but at that time, he still wasn't really sure of where he was going to be who he was going to be fighting for, and he was there. He came to talk to Mikey, and I'm sure he's still in touch with Mikey, but he didn't end up doing anything with boxing, so that's why nothing happened. But he was there. He came to the gym to see Mikey train and to talk to Mikey.
When I heard that news, I'm thinking, oh shit, he's going to do one of those shows there, Robert Garcia's Boxing Academy. Man, I got to slide in there somehow.
It would have been nice, that man is a very smart man, very good businessman, and it would really help my gym and my fighters and publicity and everything. But he was there because Mikey was still available and he was planning on promoting boxing, so that's how it all went.
Robert, I'm sure for the most part you would get a heads up, hey, I'm coming to the gym. Were you ever just surprised where someone just walked in and you're going like, wow, this guy I didn't know this guy was showing up, or I didn't know this person was at the gym?
We've had a few surprises with boxers or a lot of Mexican singers. Abner Mares has a really good relationship with Angel del Villar, who promotes and manages a lot of very, very famous singers. So through him, we've had some visits of some very popular singers, Mexican singers. We've had, we've been able to meet a lot of great, talented singers through that relationship. Just now in my gym today, actually, is one of those YouTubers versus TikTokers, that show that's going to happen.
Yeah.
I guess that kid is very popular. All the kids in the gym get there early because they want to see him train. I can't even think of his name right now, but I guess he's going to fight on that YouTubers versus TikTokers. And my son Pete is training him for that fight. And very nice kid, and all the kids are there early to see him train. So that's the type of things that happen in my gym. I'm open for them all the time. I'm never strict about you can come in or anything else. That TikToker, believe me, he's got more than 10 million subscribers in to his YouTube page. And when he finished training, my son Alvin, who's 13 years old, he was there because I guess my son knows him, and that kid invited my son to go eat. He's like 18 years old, and he asked my son if he wanted to go eat with him. My son said no, because he knows better, but I told him, son, if it's somebody like that, you should have gone. You should have gone. But no, he didn't go. He said, no, I can't. Thank you, but I can't go. But it would have been pretty cool, that kid, I can't even think of his name, but he invited my son to go get something to eat.
Well, he was taught well, and he was taught it doesn't matter who you are. My dad taught me the right way.
Correct.
Robert, let me ask you this now. If you were not doing boxing, okay, say you didn't have the gym, where do you see yourself invested in? When I say invested, not just money, but like your time and your dedication, the way you dedicate yourself as a trainer and also as an advisor. Where do you see yourself invested in?
No, that's a very difficult question, because when I retired from boxing, honestly, I never wanted to go back to boxing. My mind was to never even step in the gym again, honestly. And at some point, I thought maybe join the police academy to become a police officer, do something. Then I thought, about giving out tickets. They're in Oxnard, nothing but Mexican people, and that's something that I really didn't want to do after all. Maybe work with kids somewhere, then I started. Then when my dad called me into the gym, I took over the program, with the kids in the gym, and I was getting paid by the city of Oxnard. I also worked for Channel Islands High School, the high school where I graduated from. The principal at that time was my friend from high school, so he invited me to come over just to hang out with kids and meet them and talk to them. But eventually, the school district hired me to be there in school on campus. So maybe that's probably what I'd be doing, still, working with kids for the boxing program in Oxnard, and maybe that high school where I graduated from. But, once my dad told me to come back to the gym and started helping him, I fell in love with boxing again. And coaching professional boxers was the thing that really caught my attention.
At this time, I do want to acknowledge Louis, who's on the undercard. And in my opinion, it should have been awarded the fight. That I strongly feel that. We even had one of the publicists from Top Rank say, this kid, his last 3 fights could have gone either way. I can't wait to see him again.
Correct. You know what? That's one thing about Louis, and Louis. I was telling you earlier, Louis is not the most talented fighter in the gym, but does he have heart? Does he have power? And does he have a chin? Those are 3 things that are very, very important.
Hard to ignore.
Those 3 things you don't teach.
No.
You do not teach, and Louis has them. So that's a great advantage. That's why he's been able to. His last 3 fights have been losses, but they have been so close that they could go either way. He could have easily won all 3. Yeah. And one of them was against Blue Nose, who almost beat Valdez. The other one against that gold medalist from Brazil. And this one, another tough kid, 21-1 record. So Louis, he's just had bad luck, but he's a warrior. Top Rank loves him. Brad tells me he's going to keep using him, and Brad tells me he wants to give him a couple of fights, a little more comfortable fights, because the last 3 have been in Nevada, and Vegas is really strict when it comes to fights. Vegas wants every fight to be very, very close, like pretty even matched fights. You don't see mismatches in Vegas. And Brad told me, we're gonna start promoting in shows in Arizona, so we might take Louis to Arizona to get him a couple good wins. That way he could get back his confidence, because they've hurt him. Those 3 in a row have hurt him, but I'm proud of him because like I'm telling you, heart, chin, and power, you don't teach that, and he's got all 3 of those.
Robert, we shot a new promo video. We used some of the content that we have when we went to go visit Robert Garcia's boxing academy, and he's on the very beginning. We made sure that he was there, because every time I went there, he was always under the radar, but he always took time out of his workout to say hello, introduce himself. But I would always keep my eye on him, and he was always putting in work, taking care of business, putting in work. You were getting a lot of praise today from this person. Has 2 hashtags, so I'm not sure if I'm going to say their correct, their official name, but it's at Dallas Boxing. Female. She said, Robert takes care of his fighters. He makes sure that they're given the right opportunity, that they're never holding and some fighters got to pay your dues, but he's always making sure they're not a professional B-class fighter. But when it comes to that, he'll go up to the fighter and say, hey, look, man, I'm not going to allow you to continue to take a beating or not be looked after. She said, you always look after your fighters from A to Z. When you hear a comment like that, someone that's been involved in boxing for numerous years and in covering not just your fights, Top Ranks, Golden Boys, PBC, how does that make you feel?
See, that's something that I learned from my dad. My dad was all, I remember I was young, with my older brother fighting and a lot of guys that were professional fighters in La Corona Boxing Club in Oxnard. And I remember my dad treated everybody the same, trained everybody as hard as the other, having his son train. And there was a few other guys that were training with my older brother. My dad trained everybody the same. So it's not like he was training his son more than the others. Me, Jose Ramirez is a perfect example, world champion, Mikey. And I treat Luis Coria, Bam Rodriguez, Hector, the same. They all get the same treatment. My son Pita and Chepe, they do the same. So it's something I learned from my dad. I've learned to take care of my fighters the same way and also protect them the same way. I've been forced to stop fights in the corner because my fighter is taking a beating. He's got no chance of winning, and I'll rather call it a night and maybe give him a chance to walk out of the ring and go to his family, rather than having to call his family and tell them that their husband or their son is in the hospital. I'd rather do that.
Robert, I got a text this morning and it was like, hey, I heard Robert's going to be on the show. Let me share these pictures with you that I've covered throughout the years. And through the show, we're going to be posting some pictures, and you got quite a following. I brought you on today because, and we shied away from the beginning because we don't need to go there. I think people need to sleep before they make a comment and so forth, because I'm right there with you, Robert. Not quite at that level, but where people were just, my phone was just filled with garbage after the fight, and some I didn't give attention to. But there was one particular person, I don't even want to give them attention. I had to let them know I don't appreciate the comments or anything. And long story short, I'm no longer following that person. I'm no longer giving that person access to our platform. And according to that person, I don't exist anymore. Over the years, I've discovered, and I've watched you and the way you handle things, Robert, you're not going to please everybody. So I wanted people to see a different side of you before all this goes, and people that don't know the sport of boxing, like Roger Mayweather said, the qualities that you have, the impact that you make on people's lives. And when I say that, I'm going to lead it to this. I've been told this by different people, and I'm going to control my emotions right now. I've been told this by different people, but there was something that particular time that I saw you in Las Vegas. I was holding in some things there, and and you said some words to me, and it's just I needed it at that time when he said, "Man, you're fucking strong, man." And I, it was my son's birthday that day,
Right.
and when he said that, that gave me that strength to like, okay, let's keep. I'm here for a reason. Do the best that I can while I'm there.
Right.
And when you did that, you made that impact with me. But my point is, you continue to make the same impact with different people all over the world. How does that make you feel, man?
We know there's thousands and thousands of people that love us, throughout the world, here in the United States, California, Texas, wherever we go, we get nothing but love. There is that time where you have one or two here and there that don't like you for whatever reason is. Most of the times it's people that people that you've been around that don't like you for one thing you didn't do for them. After doing thousands and thousands of things for them, and then you don't do one thing, and you're a bad person. You're the worst. But that doesn't faze me. I know there's a lot of love out there for us.
Yeah.
There's so much love for my team, for my fighters, for my family. One person that doesn't like or finds a way to say something negative on social media or something, well, that's not really going to bother me. It's part of success, part of being successful. And we Mexicans, I'm not saying Mexican, I'm saying we, because I'm Mexican. It seems like we hate to see somebody else succeed, and it looks like we want to get, instead of helping them up, we want to pull them down. That's the sad thing about success. You're gonna have a lot of, some, even in the family members that don't want to succeed, that are wishing you bad luck. And it sucks. It hurts, but what do we have to do? Move on and don't even get bothered by what they say. And I know I have millions of people out there that love to watch my fighters fight. They love to see me talk on interviews, because I'm gonna say the truth. I'm not gonna hide anything. I'm gonna say it straight out how it is.
Yes, you are. And as it is, love's a fight. I mean, life's a fight anyways. It really is. And when I say that, it's to bring up this. I go through people's different pages, and I noticed Freddie Roach had something. He had something posted, and there was a kid. His name is, I hope I say his last name right. His name is Luke, and his last name, I want to say Flawless. He's at Love for Luke 2020. He's fighting cancer right now. And I said, you know what? I gave a like to it, and I said, okay, like, and then I moved on, and then I started thinking about it. And sometimes, Robert, I wake up and I forget, and I realize, well, I've been given a platform, so I'm going to use it for this. I'm going to give that kid a shout out. Right. So I kept my promise. I'm doing it now. I mean, we have his face on the screen, and he's trying to get a certain amount of followers. He's 9 years old, and he's battling cancer. And if you guys can follow him on Instagram, it's at Love for Luke 2020.
Awesome.
So I just wanted to say that. That's my shout out. The Fighter's Voice. We support you. Robert Garcias Boxing Academy supports you.
Supporting him 100%.
So that's what's really going on. Now, being that said, Robert, we're going to have some fun, and I'll participate with you because, I don't have the scripted. I don't know what I'm going to say, but I don't like to use a term, you're in the hot seat. It's just called finish the sentence. I shared it with somebody today. I said, hey, I'm going to talk to Robert. And he goes, oh, that's a good one right there, man. He goes, I want to see what he says. And that's my buddy, dog boxer, Eric Hernandez. And he goes, oh, man. He goes, oh, he'll love this.
That's my Eric.
And so I told him I'm going to try something different today. Robert, finish this sentence. I can go first or you can. I hate it when
I hate it when Louis gets robbed.
There you go. There you go. Here's mine. I hate it when I order a Corona and I'll say with lemon and salt, and they bring me a Corona with lime and salt. Happens 9 out of 10 times, right? Yeah, I hate it when Louis gets robbed. I wish I had more.
I wish I had more time for my fighters.
Wow. I don't want to say money because that's what everybody is expected to say. I wish I had more. Okay. I wish I had more viewers and subscribers for the Fighter's Voice.
Awesome.
Here's another one for you. Please stop.
Please stop racism, hating.
I like that one. Mine is okay. Let me think. I don't want to wait too long on it. Because you took that one out of my mouth. So that was a good one.
Yeah.
Let me see. Okay, I'll say this for myself. I'm talking to myself. Richard, please stop eating fattening foods after 9 o'clock.
That's hard. That's gonna be hard.
It is hard. Now here's we got 2 more, but here's your next one. Can I have another?
Can I have another shot of tequila?
There you go. Now here's mine. And probably someone's gonna say, "Oh, you shouldn't have did this or that." Hey, but it just popped in my head. This is to your brother Mikey. Can I have another shot?
Hold on. I have a better one.
Okay.
Can I have another shot at Josh Taylor?
Oh, I like that. I like that. There you go. There you go. That's gonna get some attention right there. And mine kind of almost goes with yours.
Yeah.
This is to your brother Mikey. Can I have another shot at ring announcing one of your shows?
Awesome. And we're coming back soon, so you will.
Awesome.
We're planning on something pretty soon, so we'll let you know.
That sounds good. Here's the last one for you. When I was little, I wanted to be.
When I was little. Oh my God, that's one that has to. When I was little. Well, I'm gonna go with when I was little, I wanted to be a cop.
Okay. Mine, I'm gonna keep real. Okay. When I was little, I wanted to be better than my dad. Because when I was 3 weeks old, he bounced. So when Richie was 3 weeks old in one day, Robert, I was celebrating because I did it. I said, I'm going to be better than him. And that's just real talk. And that's, I guess, made me the father that I am today.
That's awesome.
Well, thanks.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Well, yes. Thanks for participating in that one, because a lot of people don't turn it down or they won't go with it, but it's always fun when you change it up. Now, this Saturday, we have a fight coming. We have Haney and Linares. I mean, it's going to be exciting. It's going to be a lot closer than what people think.
Yes.
How do you dissect that fight?
Well, I think it's going to be a very technical fight. I think they're both very technical fighters. Linares has great skills. I just, the only reason I'm picking Haney is because of his youth. He's young. He's never been hurt. And on the other side, Linares is a great fighter, tremendous heart, great warrior, but he's been hurt often, quite a few times, and I think that's going to make the difference in the late rounds. So I'm picking Haney, but I think Linares could pull it off too.
We're hearing from one of the experts in boxing, one of recognized as one of the best trainers in the world, and you hear that all the time. Now, who was your favorite trainer growing up, or who do you admire today and say, "Wow, I like the connection they have, or I like what they're doing in the sport of boxing"?
Growing up, obviously, my dad was my trainer, and he was my hero. Where he raising a family, working the fields, and still training 20 plus kids in the gym. That that was the trainer I wanted to be. But I also really admire, when I was young, I admired Emmanuel Stewart, great trainer.
Yes,
I think
Manny.
probably if not the best, one of the best out there. So I think Emmanuel Stewart, I really I think he could be the best of all times.
I'm glad you brought that up. You know those little micro cassettes, those little small ones?
Yes.
Well, when I first started, I used to write for the Madera Tribune, and I had a column. It was called Round One. And I met Emmanuel Stewart for the first time in Las Vegas, and we exchanged numbers. And we would talk on the phone, and we would have conversations. And I remember there was a certain time that I lost some weight, and he said, "Man, I wish my fighters would lose weight like that." But I did an interview for the paper, and I went to a Radio Shack, and I rigged it up where the phone call, because I couldn't write too fast as he's talking, so I recorded the whole conversation. But it's just some key things to talk to one of the best trainers in the world. One of these days, I'm going to find those little micro cassettes and somehow put it on here, because I am who I say I am. I mean, you couldn't even make this up. And I'll tell you a quick story. Manny Pacquiao was fighting Eric Morales the very first time.
Okay.
And Emmanuel Stewart was, he was there with HBO. Remember, he was doing some commentating. So he's waving me down there, and they had back then it was barricades, and he had a flip phone. And he's going through his phone. He's going over and over and over again, over and over. And he showed me, he goes, "See, I told you I got your number." And he did. He kept it. It's just he was a man of his word. And he said, "Next time you're in Las Vegas, bring your mama, because I'm gonna be training Julio Cesar Chavez." I think this was before the event. And I remember Julio was staying at remember the old Hilton off the Strip?
Right.
So when Julio's coming from the elevator, my mom got her opportunity to meet Julio Cesar Chavez, man. And he's a man of his word. He was down to earth. And one thing that we try to pull over my head, unless, I'll stand corrected. He tried to tell me he was half Mexican.
What did he, for real?
Yeah, that's what he told me. That's what he told me. I was like, I don't see it. And he goes, no, I am, man. Maybe just upbringing, or maybe just because he sat down and ate tortillas with us or something. I don't know. But no, that's real talk. He did tell me that.
Right now, that you were saying about the Linares Haney fight.
Yes.
Don't forget, we also have Nonito Donaire fighting the same night, Saturday night.
Oh yes, that's right.
And I'm actually, I wanted to bring it up because I'm going to be there. I'm going to be at the former Stub Hub Center. Now is the Dignity Health Center.
Yeah.
I'm going to be there because I want to go watch Nonito. He's one of my former fighters. We accomplished like 3 different titles in 3 different divisions.
Filipino Flash, right?
So, yeah. So I'm going to be there to support him.
Hey, no, that's good. Anytime you want to jump in like that, of course, man. I mean, boxing, it's starting to rise up again. I mean, we got 2 great fights on the same night. You can't go wrong.
Exactly. The month of June is going to have so many big fights, interesting fights, from Showtime to pay-per-view to Fox, ESPN. The month of June is going to full of great fights, and all top promoters are going to be part of boxing, and just can't wait. The month of June is going to be nothing but talent every weekend. My
phone, honestly, I got 12 messages that say, get to the state, get to this. And I will say this, you said something on, I think it was Ali was talking to you, and somebody went up to Jose, and they said, "Hey, we had the press conference, and you can go if you want, or you don't have to go, or so forth." And Jose said, "Would you have asked me if I won?" So being that said, I thought about everything, because Jose, we had talked and about coming to Madera and talking to the high school kids. So I'm going to treat it as such. I'm expecting to see Jose sometime in August when school opens up again, talking to the high school kids with even a stronger testimony. I reached out to Jose today and I said, "I can't wait to have you on the podcast," because I'm not going to treat it as such. Like, would I be asking him only because a win or a loss? I'm going to treat him 100. And that's again, you don't need to put the gloves on or walk in a gym for iron to sharpen iron.
Right.
I mean, what you said, it really hit home with me. There's been a couple things that hit home with me in less than a week. So I'm treating it as such. And when he does come on the show, they can ask all the questions they want. Today's the Robert Garcia Boxing Academy show, man. And that's what it's all about.
Yeah, well, that's a true story. Jose did say that, and Jose's a a great man, great person. He has a lot of faith in himself and also his team, but also knows how to accept a loss. You know, even though this is his first loss, he took it very well. You know, everybody was telling him about some of the controversy, the holding, the hitting behind the head, the the last knockdown, by the uppercut on a break, stuff like that. But this says no, that I should have been aware of that. I should have known to protect myself all that time. So that's the the person Jose is. He accepted the loss and no complaints about it. That's just gonna make him better and better.
I'm glad you're sharing that. And I'll say this. If he accepted it, then we need to accept it.
Right, of
And,
course.
and we need to move on until the next one.
Exactly. No, that's exactly the same thing. I've already got phone calls about possible fights. What if Taylor fights your fighter this, your fighter that? How about this? How about that? Taylor's a great champion. He's the undisputed champion of the world right now. Very few can say that, and he's one of them. He's one of them. So nothing but respect. Let him enjoy right now. I don't think he even wants to hear a possible fight with so and so. Not at all. Give him a few months to enjoy with his country, with his family, with his team. And obviously business is business. So when time comes, he will talk business and we will approach him with the business that we want to do. But as of right now, enjoy your undisputed, title, because
your fruits.
very few.
Exactly. Very, very well said, Robert. And respect was given where it needed to be given.
Correct.
Before I let you go, I know Mikey was holding on for that Pacquiao sweepstakes. At first I didn't want it to happen because I like them both, but then I wanted it to happen because it'd be great for boxing. He recently, I read I think it was Vargas. He said, "Hey, we had the first fight at 147, move up to 154." I mean, that's too much weight for Mike. I'm not saying that he couldn't do it. I'll never say that he can't. Because actually, Mikey is looking fit at 147 right now. Yeah. He's looking good at 147.
Well, look, at 147, that was actually the fight that we thought we had a great chance, against Pacquiao, and that was the fight that we wanted. Now that didn't happen, and Pacquiao decided to go with Spence, which is unbelievable. I think just by choosing to fight one of the best welterweights at the moment, he's up there among the greatest in boxing of all times. But after that, then we talked about it already. If we didn't get it, we were hoping we did, but we got to move on too. Now we're planning at 140 with Mikey. He belongs at 140. 147 was for the Pacquiao fight. There's the other champions. Rematch with Spence doesn't make sense. Crawford is with Top Rank, and Crawford is a great fighter, probably the best welterweight out there. So it's also hard to say we want to go after Crawford. So I think 140 is probably where Mikey belongs, unless the other champion is Ugas. Ugas, very respected fighter, very very respected champion. I don't know how easy that would be to make, Mikey versus Ugas, but if not, then I think 140 is where Mikey should be fighting.
I agree with you, and let's not forget, there's some dogs at 140 waiting to get that opportunity. I mean, you're going to have Mikey, Jose's back in there. You got Regis Prograis. You got Cepeda in there. Also,
Teofimo Lopez is planning on moving up.
Yes.
We already have Tank fighting at 140 in his next fight. So Tank is going to be a big name at 140. There is a lot of fights at 140. So I think that's the best division for Mikey. But like I said, unless something bigger at welterweight happens, but as of right now, the plan is to fight at 140.
I think that's a good plan. I think he's gonna do one. Not that they wasn't doing 147 after his body started to transition. Because you got to remember, he moved. That was two weight classes, Robert. We're not talking about one. He didn't skip a meal. He went up with a bigger man, and Spence is a naturally bigger man. When I saw him, he's a big man.
He's a big man.
I think 140 would be great for him.
Yes.
And I'm looking forward to it. And hey, man. Oh, you also got Arnold Barboza.
Correct. There you go. Barbosa is a great fighter.
Yeah.
Very. His last win was great win.
Yes.
So that it's full of talent. That division has so much talent that why not be part of it? With my kid,
Yeah.
we have a fighter. We also have Jose Ramirez who is also going to be able to compete against
Yep.
any of up 140 pounders. So it's a stacked division.
Yeah, I can see it unfolding soon. I'm going to let you go in a little while. And I know I just been kind of hinting and throwing this your way. June 19th, Hector Macho Camacho is getting in the ring with one of your boxing icons, with the living legend, Julio Cesar Chavez. I mean, he's walking around like he's getting ready to get on the scale and compete against Frankie Randall, Pernell Whitaker, and Maldrick Taylor once again. This fight is going to develop and open doors. You're only going to get one wave at it. Robert, it's now or never, my man. I mean, come on. Your fans want to see you, Robert Garcia, back into the ring in an exhibition. I won't say fight like I did last time, in an exhibition, 4 rounds, 6 rounds. When are you going to grasp it? When are you going to accept it and say, you know what? Call your management and say, let's do something for charity, or hey, let's just do something. Because what did Rocky say? I got some left in the basement.
Look, September is going to be 20 years since my last professional fight, and I've never thought of even stepping in the ring, for any reason. But if it's for an exhibition, for something that makes sense, for charity or something, then why not? If it's the right boxer, just to have fun, I will. But I wouldn't call it a fight because I definitely don't want to fight. But if it's for something, to have fun, enjoy, just Chavez and Arce, they've been doing it a couple times and they do great. The fans love it. They enjoy it. They have fun. Chavez is going to do it with Camacho Jr. And I think it's going to be a great event in Guadalajara. I think the fans are going to have a great time because they want to see their Mexican idol back in the ring, especially against the son of a former opponent who talked a lot, and they're gonna see it as if it was Camacho Senior in the ring, and they're probably going. I'm sure they're gonna boo Junior. They're gonna throw beer bottles. They're gonna throw everything at Camacho Jr. But it's gonna be a great event, great show. Can't wait to see it.
Quick question. What if Hector Macho Camacho Sr. would have had social media?
Oh my God. You know what? It would have been not even close to what we see right now with all this very popular kids on social media. That man was somebody that would have millions and millions of followers. Maybe most of them would be people wanting to see him get beat, but they'd still be following.
Robert Garcia's Boxing Academy. If you have not made it to the gym, get a glimpse of it. And if you haven't, hey, look up Showtime, look at PVC. Hell, even look up the Fighter's Voice. Robert, every time we go there, Showtime's leaving, ESPN is arriving. It's always the who's who that's there. When do you ever have a normal day? Is there such thing as a normal day in Robert Garcia's Boxing Academy? Because I know sometimes you're getting ready to have your coffee or something, and then Ali, he'll just ask those questions. And I will say this, Ali is the GOAT at what he does.
That's right, he is, and that's why he's in my gym often. He comes in once, sometimes twice a week, but he's a good friend. He's a good dude, and he knows what he's doing. He's worked his ass off. Maybe since I was in Oxnard, since I opened up my first gym, I'm talking maybe 12, 13 years ago. So for Eli to still be around and now so big, I give him nothing but respect for the hustle that he does, But a normal day in the gym is if we just get there with my guys, get them sparring with nobody with a camera, nobody with a tape recorder to record everything that my fighters are saying. That's a normal day. And we don't have normal days that often.
Robert, it's always a pleasure. It's always fun-filled and entertaining having you on the show. And you could have declined. You could have said, Richard, not right now. We're going to wait, or whatever the reason is. So every time I'm sitting in front of you, you always give me your time of day. you sit down in front of me like if you were sitting in front of ESPN or Showtime. And I never had a chance to tell you, but I appreciate that. I mean, and I just like the way you train your fighters from their first win to the championship.
You know what the difference is, Richard? We could get half an hour, 1 hour of Showtime or ESPN, and they're only going to air like 10 seconds of it. With you, we're getting an hour plus, and everything goes in. So we're way better off doing something with you because you get everything. ESPN and Showtime, all those big channels, they're there for days, sometimes days in a row. And what do they air? 10 seconds of the interview. That's all they do. That's the difference.
Man, those are kind words. I do appreciate that. I will thank ESPN because they did give us a few seconds plug with Jose wearing the Fighter's Voice t-shirt, man. And I was flattered. I was honored. And I know it's only the beginning. Robert, whenever you need to voice something, you got a platform here. I support what you're doing. I love your show. I honestly, you could ask my girl. I quote some of your stuff, or I'll say, "Hey, did you hear when he said this?" I go, "Check it out." I looped it, and I'll share it to some people, and they go, "Hey, send it to me because I want my homie to hear it." And I'll say, "Well, just subscribe, bro." I mean, but yeah, you tell the truth at every single thing. You're a class act. You're only beginning, and hey, man, every champion falls. Not everybody can get up, but those that are around iron, because iron sharpens iron, do get up.
Exactly.
So I appreciate the time once again.
Awesome.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for all the subscribers and the followers. And Robert, how can they follow you and tune in to Robert Garcia Unfiltered?
Well, that's on YouTube, and my son is the one that got it started. So I think it's just Robert Garcia Unfiltered on YouTube or on our social media at Garcia Boxing.
And you can also follow The Fighter's Voice. That's www.youtube.com/The Fighter's Voice. Remember, every fighter has a voice, and so do you. It's a wrap with Robert Garcia's Boxing Academy, the one and only Robert Garcia. Thumbs up for Richie.
Don't miss out. Now you can listen to the Fighter's Voice podcast radio show on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn Radio. New show, new topics, new look, bringing you the latest news. Every fighter has a voice, and so do you. For the hottest and latest in sports and entertainment, exclusive interviews with the biggest names in the sport of boxing and MMA.
I'm Robert Garcia.
I'm Jose Ramirez. Hey guys, this is Mikey Garcia, and I'm here with
The Fighter's Voice.